There are days when I envy gardens where things just grow with ease, where the soil is rich and rain abundant. I'm very grateful that we don't have frost or snow, but the challenges can still feel insurmountable at times. Without rain, this clay soil hardens almost to stone. Spring passes in a fleeting burst of beauty before the summer sun returns, scorching new growth to fragile parchment. Sometimes I convince myself that if I could only get this right, my garden would be thriving. But this land has no regard for my perfectionism. Her native flora has spent millions of years adapting to these conditions. I am little more than an insect trying to reshape a mountain. Or at least that's how it feels sometimes. And yet, perhaps the one thing that I do have on my side is determination. I'm not quite ready to throw in the towel. I ask this land what she needs from me, what I can give her in exchange for the beautiful and abundant garden of my imaginings. Her answer seems to rise from the soil itself, a quiet request for care, but mostly for patience. And so lately, my attention has been absorbed in composting, that gradual alchemy of decay that begets new life. It's like a kind of poetry penned by the earth herself, the way that wilted seedlings, fallen leaves, and decaying matter becomes something rich and nourishing for the seeds of future growth. It's a gentle reminder that even what I perceive as my gravest failings can still lay the soil for new beginnings. Like most things here, the path to this thriving garden that I imagine is shaped by what we have and by the time and care that we are willing to give. In my quest to find an effective way to nourish the soil, I have tried a few experiments now. Initially, I thought that ducks would be the answer for improving the soil. Everything I'd read suggested that their manure could be applied to the garden directly, with no composting required. This sounded perfect. The ducks would eat the pests, fertilize the garden, and save me from composting altogether. But I quickly discovered that the ducks had their own priorities. It turned out that they had little interest in foraging and instead preferred to be wherever I was. This meant that they spent most days on the patio, somewhere where they could either see me or hear my voice. And as you can imagine, that was not exactly where I needed their fertilizer. When they did venture further afield, it wasn't to catch grasshoppers and slugs, but to strip my vegetables and flowers down to bare stems. In my search for a solution, I considered fencing off the back third of the property so that they could roam and work their magic there. but even the most modest fencing would have cost over $1,000. After much thought, we made the very difficult decision to sell the ducks. This was heartbreaking, but I accepted the emerging reality that there might be no shortcuts to composting. The next method I tried promised simplicity: trench composting. This involved digging a shallow trench, burying kitchen scraps, and topping with mulch. I planted clover as a living mulch to improve nitrogen. This promised to boost microbial activity in the soil and attract worms right on site, all without having to turn piles, cart compost around, or wait months for results. I loved the concept, but the reality was somewhat underwhelming. While the soil does feel looser, I think that's mostly from digging. The kitchen scraps did break down, a sign that microbial life is at work, but the worms I hoped for never appeared. The clover mulch too struggled to take off. Watering turned sections of the loose clay almost into concrete. With the harsh sun beating down, the seedlings were scorched before they could properly take root. The effort required to dig the trenches meant that I often put it off, leaving kitchen scraps to accumulate until I couldn't delay any longer. I haven't entirely given up on this method. I'm trying wood chip mulch instead of clover, and I'll continue to monitor the health of the soil. Meanwhile, we've been steadily building our traditional compost heap. Our neighbour kindly lets us collect manure from her horses.
Hello?
This has been a huge help. We layer the manure with grass clippings, and I've started a new section with kitchen scraps as well. The biggest downside with this method is time. It can take anywhere from 2 to 6 months for the matter to break down, depending on moisture and temperature. Using it too early can draw nutrients away from plants instead of feeding them. Over winter, I wasn't consistent in collecting horse manure, so I had to buy some bags of compost to keep our food forest growing. Well, this is obviously a very successful method and a very popular one. Where it breaks down is when you don't have enough. So I'm working on a solid routine and some ideas for expansion that will hopefully rise to the growing demand. The newest method I've been experimenting with is liquid fertiliser. This is made by steeping weeds and comfrey leaves in water. When broken down, weeds actually offer a host of nutrients. Comfrey is especially rich in potassium and nitrogen, making it ideal for strong roots and abundant fruiting. This so-called tea takes about 3 weeks to brew, which is much faster than a traditional compost heap. Collecting the weeds also serves a dual purpose. It nourishes the garden once processed, while keeping invasive plants at bay. I don't think it will be winning any awards for its aroma, but the plants seem to love it. I love how easy this method is, and I love that it turns something unwanted into something useful and beneficial. Whether it's labor-intensive trench composting, the slow degradation of the compost heap, or the surprising alchemy of liquid fertiliser, the message reverberates. Growth cannot be rushed, and nothing tried is truly wasted. My garden reminds me that perfectionism is often just fear. It's fear of uncertainty, of failure, and of hopes and visions dissolving into meaninglessness. Perfectionism deceives us into thinking that if something can't be done flawlessly, it's best not to try at all. But in so doing, we rob ourselves of the very progress we're striving for. By pushing through these moments of resistance and these self-limiting thoughts, and continuing on in service of this vision regardless, results do appear. And for each vine nibbled down to a stump, it gives rise to a new solution. Each seedling scorched to dust births new adaptations. The garden doesn't need me to be perfect, only present, observant, and willing to learn. By sharing my failures alongside my rare successes, I hope that together we can embrace more of the imperfect in our lives. And hopefully have a bit more fun along the way. If you enjoyed this video, I warmly invite you to subscribe. This helps YouTube share my work with more people who might need a bit of peace and encouragement today. Thank you for being here. You are truly appreciated.